logged in yet? He's like, I'm ready. Let's go. Okay. Ricky Locke, welcome to Rad-Ventures, the podcast that takes you on an exhilarating journey through the lives of entrepreneurs and business leaders. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, magician, speaker, confidence coach, podcast host, dad, husband, fellow Yellow Tuxedo Digital Circus member. Did I miss anything?
Woo, 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 woo. No, I think that's pretty good, and probably just add in a skateboarder, midlife crisis man, having a bit of a breakdown, I think. Yeah, but apart from that, yeah, that's it.
How long have you been doing that then?
Skateboarding? Since I was about 13, and then stopped when I was about 23, and then started again in my 30s. So I've been doing it for like the last 4 years. Loving it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Last year, I took up quad roller skating.
Wow. Oh, yeah. I've seen your stories actually on TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter wanted to do it. My daughter wanted to do it, and then she bought her roller skates, and then she kept falling over, and I was like, it's not that hard. I used to do it when I was your age. So I was like, I'll show you. And I fell over so many times.
I love it. Yeah, live by example. I'm the same. Well, my daughter she's like almost 3. So she sees me skateboarding, and I'm trying to get her out on it. She likes a scooter, and I'm like, scooters are the enemies. That was, the
scooter kids. No, we don't talk to them.
No, yeah, and excuse my French here, but when I was a kid, well, they still call them now. They call them snakes. Like scooters just don't have any patience. They just drop in and go. Skateboards, we all respect each other. We all do the skateboard tap as a sign of acknowledgement when you've done a great trick. But scooters are just like, so I won't do the hand gesture that I was going to do just then.
No. This is a video podcast, so don't do that. YouTube will demonetize us. Not that I'll probably get monetized for this. What with my 7 subscribers, but hopefully that will improve. But skateboarders always got respect for them. As a quad skater, we were on a skate park once, and I had a fall on one of the quarter pipes. Well, actually not on it, like off it. I'd come off it and lost my footing. Yeah. And there was a skateboarder around, and like an older gentleman. He had this massive cool beard and this top knot hair that was flowing around. He'd whipped his top off and was just in his shorts and his Vans. And I was like, so rad, man, so rad. And he watched me, and he went past. He went, "You all right, mate?" I went, "Yeah, I'm all right." And my 12-year-old daughter comes and picks me up off the floor. And but as she's doing that, a scooter kid goes, "Excuse me, mate, can you move?" I was like, "Can you give me a sec?" So I just like jump up and out of the way, and then this skateboarder was going round, he's flowing round the bowl and everything, and all around everything. They were on the edge of one of the higher ramps. He went up it and was like, "Move back!" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, he's not impressed with them." And it was in my defense.
It's crazy, yeah. So it was so when we was younger, there wasn't a lot of it. It was always BMXers versus skateboarders. That was the thing when I was like 13, 14. Yeah. And we used to have what we call, this word is not used anymore, townies. Remember the word townies?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So now, I mean, you had chavs, but you had townies, the skateboarders, and the BMXers were always like chavs, just on, BMXers, not like the cool ones now. But I was like Matt Hoffman, that kind of time. And the skateboarders were just really cool. But nowadays, it's just full of scooters. And I go to a place called Adrenaline Alley in Corby. It's one of the UK's biggest, indoor,
Europe's
amazing.
Biggest indoor skate park, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. And it's all wood. It's fantastic, really cool. They've got like big airbags outside as well. And it's just really sad now because there's not many skateboarders around these days. It's quite a lot of scooters. And, thank God the Olympics are still going strong now. The skateboarding's in that as well. But yeah, it's just a wonderful culture to be of. Yeah, I love it. Miss it.
Yeah, I mean, saying about townies and everything and chavs, that does take me back. And actually, I remember it must have been about 2000, the year. We went into the bike shop in my town that I was living at the time because they had the first ever micro scooter in the shop window.
Oh, right.
And they weren't like, and I've looked it up since. I did remember the name, but it's escaped me now. But it was like 400 quid. And now they're like, they're 25 quid. Well, I know I haven't actually looked at them because I'm not interested in them because, like you say, we don't talk to them. But they're not overly, well, you can get expensive ones, obviously, but you can pick one up for your kid to 25 quid, can't you?
Well, isn't this really cool? And here's the thing, am I allowed to say Radmin or am I allowed to say Richard. Will I get in trouble if I say your real name?
You can call me whatever you want.
Okay, it's not like Batman or something like that. Like if I say Richard, they're like,
Oh no,
God, just
everyone does know that my name. Everyone knows my name is actually Richard, but also everyone knows that I'm also just called Radmin.
Radmin, cool. So what's great now for us as parents, but also as adults when we get adult money. As a kid, I remember like having one skateboard, and it would be that would last for like probably 2 years because I was so scared I couldn't afford another one. And also the setup of having a skateboard, trucks, wheels, bearings, grip tape, it was a lot of money. And now, thankfully, being a parent and a responsible adult, I should say, I'm very fortunate that if something happens, it's like, great, I'm going to buy a brand new like setup and spend lots of money because it's great because you can, So it's lovely being adults and skateboarding in your mid-30s because there's also that culture where you recognise people who. There's a huge movement, by the way. I don't know if you've seen this on Facebook. I'll have to add you in it. Well, if you want to be, yeah, because you're a blader, so it's like a bit of controversy there. But it's all for people in their 30s skateboarding again. So it's really cool. Yeah,
I've seen the page on Instagram. I can't remember what they're called now, and there's like a community in America of all them getting back into it and stuff, and like we've had our first hip broken this month and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, part of my thing when I got back into it was I bought a pair of cheap-ish skates, I suppose you'd say, and then I used them for a little bit, and obviously they were not up to par, shall we say, for 6'1", 16 stone guy. And so I went through those quite quickly. But the next ones I bought were a pair of Bauer converted quads, but I bought them in my brand colors.
Nice.
So like the trucks are pink. There's blue on the skates. I was going to get blue wheels, but I ended up with black ones.
Nice.
And then actually I've got some like pink sparkly light up wheels as well to go on them. I haven't been on them for like 6 months now. I don't think it is.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, I think the dopamine ran out on it.
Well, I don't know if you're the same on this one, and I'm sure you want to move on from this conversation. It's my last thing, I promise. But what's nice for me, and I don't know if you feel the same, is there's a real escape for me. So as a performer and a presenter, I'm often, and I have this joke with Alan on my podcast, like I'm not a celebrity at all, but because of what I do, the amount of weddings I host or speaking on stage, I see people all the time in Tesco's like, it's the magician. Hi. I'm like, yeah, hi. Hey, how are you? Just get my eggs. Hey. But we're a normal human being as well. So with skateboarding, I don't have to be that person. I can just put my Vans hat on. No one needs to talk to each other. We all do. It's all friendly. But like it's just like, hey, we're here to have a really cool time and we acknowledge each other. And I found that I'm better in my mid-30s than I was in my 20s, which is really, really cool. I'm doing like a lot of the old school tricks, but it's just lovely to turn up and there's no requirement to be anyone other than just yourself. So it's lovely. I do like that.
Yeah, I think like obviously apart from the scooter crew, everyone appreciates that everyone's a beginner or they can be a beginner. So no matter what you do there or what level you're at, everyone can appreciate we've all started somewhere.
Yeah.
And like I say, skateboarders are always clapping for us. All the other skaters have always been, even the BMXers appreciate us because we all have that common enemy, the scooter kid.
Yeah. And as a kid, I was really scared, of the bigger boys, the bigger older boys on BMXs and the bigger skateboards because they were scary. But now it's like role reversal. I'm that person now, and it's great because I can just push people out of the way. Just carry on.
Yeah, I love it. And I didn't expect us to go that way on this. That's okay. No, this podcast is all about people's journeys, and obviously that's part of your journey. So I'm glad that it came up because I wasn't expecting it after everything in the preamble we talked about, and then and the bits I know about you besides which. Okay, so after we've done that, then I gave you a little introduction, but how about you tell everyone a little about yourself, Ricky?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So effectively, you pretty much nailed it on the head. But I am a professional speaker. I am an award-winning wedding magician. I was voted second best wedding magician in the UK. Lost out to a photo booth. Yeah, so that wasn't the greatest. But yeah, I'm also a confidence coach. But effectively, the thread that kind of runs through it is to inspire and empower people to be the best version of themselves. And through the magic, through the speaking, if you were to do like a Venn diagram, there's performing and presenting right in the middle that links everything I do. And it's effectively what I'm here to do, is to make people feel and be the best version of themselves. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Cool. And so, as with all these podcasts, now we talk about the careers advisor at school. So, when the career advisor sat you down and on that fateful day in year 10 or whatever it was for you, as you're a couple of years younger than me, so it did change after my time. But did you say, I'm going to be a wedding magician?
No, not at all. Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? Like, I mean, careers advisors, bloody hell. I mean, it doff my cap off to them, because it's a big responsibility, isn't it? But I can't remember having any conversation with my careers advisor. All I remember was being pushed to uni, like everyone. You know, UCAS points. Do you remember UCAS points? I don't know if that's still something now. Don't know.
I don't
UCAS.
know. You have to get your grades now, don't you? But
Yeah.
it's all numbers and stuff instead,
Yeah, so I
and
was
other weird stuff.
GCSEs, yeah, which is funny now, because my mum and dad were like, we're O levels. I was like, oh, okay, and we're GCSEs, and now it's done another thing. It's like you said, it's based on numbers, I think now, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think.
ones, twos, threes, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't really know. My daughter's not quite there yet. I only know this bit because
yeah.
one of my clients' daughter has just done her A levels,
Oh right,
and
wow.
they were talking about numbers or letters. I can't even remember.
Yeah, God, I've just realised I'm old now. I've become my parents when they said to me, "Oh, we never did GCSEs, Ricky. We did it O levels."
That was it.
Yeah,
Straight on the Rad-Ventures podcast. There's Ricky's realization. He's
yeah.
now old.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, but no, yeah. So I don't remember having a conversation with them. I remember being pushed into UCAS points, and I really didn't want to go uni. The only reason I wanted to go would have been to have fun and party. I love the kind of culture. I would have gone, I think, Nottingham Rock City, Nottingham University, so I could go Nottingham Rock City every night. But no, I didn't go. I kind of did A levels for 1 year and I didn't really enjoy it. And at the time in A levels, we had to do work experience again. Did it heavily in
Right.
year 10, and we had to repeat it in the first year, year 12, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And I already had a job working in retail at the weekend. So I just said to my boss, look, Darren, I already work here. I've been asked to do work experience. Can I work here for the 2 weeks? And he said, yeah, sure, Ricky, we'll take you out at the stockroom. We'll put you on the till for 2 weeks and see how you deal with customers. And I liked it that much that I was earning money, and I could then afford to buy my very first car, a P-Reg 1996, I think it was, Ford Fiesta, white, which was the wrong colour to buy because it just showed all the dirt. But it had a lovely, cool 8-ball gear stick that I bought and put it in, and a little crocodile air freshener, which was quite cool. And I enjoyed it. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to leave sixth form because I don't really want to pursue, don't really know what it is I want to do. And then I fell into retail, and for 15 years, kind of worked through that, worked my way up the ladder, became a team leader, then a customer service manager, then a stock manager, eventually became a store manager, and then kind of like ticked the box, did that. And then I became a national trainer for the whole company. So wherever your listeners are listening or viewers are watching this, if you're in the UK, you've probably seen a little Argos store inside of Sainsbury's on your travels. And the chances are it was me and my team that opened them up. We went through this big transition from 2016 to 2020, where we started opening all these stores, and I would travel to Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and just open all these stores up. And that was Monday to Friday. Now, at the time, I was doing magic, like in the staff room and on the weekends every now and then. And someone said, would you like to do a wedding? I was like, sure, never done one before. I'll give it a go. Learned how to do it, quite enjoyed it, because quite often most people are very happy to be at a wedding. So it was a really good experience. And then I started to do it on the side. And then during the career, it kind of like was scaling up, scaling down. And then eventually I took the plunge, got made redundant, and left and became a full-time professional magician, and then transitioned into still doing, obviously, weddings and hosting, but as well as being a speaker and a conference coach. So, yeah, but in answer to your long question, which was a long while ago, no, I mean, what that conversation was like, careers advisor, yeah, who would have known?
Cool. So for year 10 work experience, my first choice, because I got the option of three choices. Well, I had to give three choices. You know, you fill in the form, Richard. Here you go. What choice one was law and the legal. Law and the legal profession.
Nice.
Number two escapes me. I can't remember what it was. Number three was retail. I just thought, oh, retail, that sounds all right. So
Yeah.
I did my work experience 2 weeks in year 10 at Sainsbury's supermarket.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, no, it was all right. It was insightful. But yeah, I wanted to work in a law office, and obviously they
Yeah.
gave me thingy. But that gives me another story, and like
Yeah.
my watchers slash listeners, if there are any, when this all comes out on the International Podcast Day, the 30th of September, 2024. If there are any, they must forgive me because I did tell this story in the last episode I did. But when I did my work experience, which I did quite enjoy, because I did like connect with a guy. I can't remember his name now, but he had a band, and they were an REM covers band. Bear in mind we're talking about 2001 here, so.
Yeah.
Um, but to say thank you for my hard work during my work experience, the supermarket gave me a CD, but it was Top of the Pops 2001.
Oh, all right.
And
Okay.
I was a bit like, oh. And they said, oh, you can change it if you want. So I went and changed it for Blink 182, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, the deluxe version.
High five. Yes.
Yeah, high five over the camera. I know that you're a Blink 182 fan. Firstly, because I've seen it on the old interwebs, and secondly, because you told me just before we hit record. That album was fantastic. I was telling Rich Tyron about it, and I had the deluxe version. So if you left the last song playing, then you got a load of bonus songs.
Yeah. Was it yeah, I remember, was it I can't probably say this online, but it's about a
Yeah,
dog.
no, you can't say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it. And about the pirate, it's a pirate song, and yeah, it was all
Yes.
about that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
my partner, she had that album, but she bought the deluxe version, but they put the wrong disc in.
Oh.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
she didn't get the bonus stuff. My disc was yellow with
Yeah.
the trousers on it, I think. Hers was green with the plane on. And I was
Oh.
like, that's so cool. They did different discs. I was like, what do you think of this? And she was like, no, I haven't got that. They've given me the wrong disc.
All right. Okay. So it was the same disc then, but just with a different design.
No,
Oh.
they were two separate discs, so you could either buy the deluxe version or the non-deluxe version.
Oh, yeah.
And so she bought the deluxe version with the extra songs, but they when they put the CD in, when they used to do that, they used to
Ah,
open the
yeah.
case and then put the
Yeah.
CD in and then pass it to you like, here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put the wrong disc in.
Oh, cheeky. Wow.
I know, bad times.
Yeah.
I can't
That,
remember. That was
yeah.
MVC. Remember
Oh,
them?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were good. I liked MVC.
Yeah. God, I was yeah, blimey. So I remember. So I put this on my story the other day because with Blink obviously now back again. You know, Tom DeLonge back in it. You know, he's one of my absolute idols. He obviously upset the band when he went off and created Boxcar Racer. And Boxcar Racer, when they released their album, was one of the first albums I ever bought with my pay packet. So when I was like 16, working in Argos, and we used to get paid in a physical brown packet with cash, you know. I remember it took me like 2 weeks, I think, to save up, and because it was £17.99, which was really expensive back then, £17.99 in HMV, and it was just amazing. So when I saw them at Reading Festival on Friday, they actually played a cover of There Is, and then Mark did his version of Plus 44's When Your Heart Stops Beating. So it was really good just to see like how they'd all gone off and had their arguments, and they've come back, and it's just like, hey,
Yeah.
man, you know what? I respect you. And I was like, wow. And it was so emotional because, like, as you will know, those songs, like, saved us as a kid. That's what brought
Yeah.
skateboarding alive.
I must admit, Blink 182 was a massive thing for me in those last couple of years of high school.
Yeah.
Or secondary school, whatever you want to say nowadays. And yes, I had all the albums in the days of LimeWire and Napster and things like that.
Yeah.
A family member of ours was like an expert at it. So, one of my favorites was the live album, the
Yeah. Oh,
Mark
the
Tom and
Tom
Travis
Mark and
show.
Travis show. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But Tom's great, isn't he? Because he's all like conspiracy theory, aliens, and all that stuff,
Yeah.
which I do like reading about, but I don't necessarily believe in them. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I like the fact that some people are saying that we're now living in a simulation or we're living in a matrix, but then, if you look at Tom, there is a theory that we are living on a prison planet and the
Yeah. Yeah.
aliens stop us from going out, and it's all crazy. It's brilliant
Mm.
though at the same time. But I don't want to get distracted on Blink 182 because there's something I want to tell you.
Okay.
Yes. Speaking of reunions and Blink 182 coming back, have you seen this morning? Oasis are coming back.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, was it announced the weekend? Because Liam Gallagher was at Reading and Leeds, wasn't he? Did his solo stuff, but I think he did a
Right.
couple of covers of Oasis, and then it was announced, wasn't it? It's the big gold logo, isn't it, with the numbers for
Yeah,
20?
yeah,
Is
yeah.
it 20?
27th is today.
Yeah, of course.
2708, 24, yeah. And so this
Wow.
morning, literally opened my social media and yeah, it's plastered all over the papers. Coming back, reunion tour next year.
Wow. See, here's the thing. I mean, it's going to go wild. That would be absolutely amazing. But is it going to actually happen because of the bitterness and the argument? It's a big,
Yeah,
strong
yeah,
feud.
that's
So,
what I thought. Yeah,
interesting to see.
I thought it's a long way to go.
Mm,
A year,
yeah.
and also, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were all right, but they're not amazing, are they? I think it was a case of right place, right time.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan,
Yeah.
but it's like it is all over the news, and it is interesting because they have been apart for so long. And I think is
Yeah.
which one of them is it? Noel that's been saying, "Well, I don't know why he doesn't just ring me."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For the last, I don't know, that must be about 10 years he's been saying that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, I think there was.
right,
I was just going to say, Richard. There's a
yeah, yeah,
real incline. I think it is. Yeah, like of bands from because there's this big phrase about elder emos. So I'm an elder emo.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I still
yeah,
love emo and metal music, and there's this huge comeback from bands like Yellow Card. Bands 15, 20 years ago. Like me and my mate, as well as huge fans of Blink-182, we're also fans of Fall Out Boy. And he always sends
yeah.
me stuff on like Instagram going, oh, did you know this song's 20 years old? I'm like, what? 20 years? And now see all these
Yeah,
bands. There's a big festival in America called, I think, We Are Young Fest. And it's all those bands. And it's just great. Oasis coming back. So what a wonderful lesson there. There's something there about, great stuff never dies or something like that. I don't know. But
I
lovely
think
stuff. Yeah.
the lesson is that I mean, there's a lot of talk on social media that as a species we peaked in the 90s,
Yeah.
and so I think the government probably or the world, the world order, they're probably just sat there like, you know, everyone says we peaked in the 90s. They're all right. What can we do? And they're like, let's bring Oasis back.
Yeah.
So they were like, Liam, Noel, sort your stuff out, get back together. The world will be a better place.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You watch summer 2025, Oasis come back. We
Yeah.
might even get like Blur back together or something.
Oh,
And
Blur's still
then,
together. Yeah, they're still together.
oh, I thought one of them retired and now he's a cheese farmer or something like that.
So that's the bassist. Oh no, sorry, am I thinking? Yeah, no, they did because they did a festival. I think at Coachella. I think it was last year.
Ah,
Look
see,
for this, and it's
yeah.
terrible. Like no, like Damon
Oh
Albarn
no.
like moans at the crowd and says, "Come on, hey," and it's just the wrong audience to perform to because they're all young
Ah,
kids. They don't understand. Yeah.
I saw the House Martins did a song not too long ago. That was at Glastonbury, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, so we're obviously behind with our assumptions on the New World Order bringing the
Mm,
90s back. They're obviously already in, and
yeah.
perhaps Oasis was like the final straw. It's like the
Mm,
ultimate boss level of bringing the 90s back. Oasis is back. You
yeah.
watch this time next year, no wars, economy's going to be fantastic, and no more what do you call them, pandemics.
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
be fantastic. You heard it here first on the
Oh.
Rad-Ventures podcast. Ricky Locke,
Mm,
Locke, and Radmin. That's us.
yeah. I love that.
Right,
That's good.
I had something in my head that was back to your being working in Argos, and it's
Hmm.
gone. So obviously now you've a plethora of things, but it's mostly the magic that got you into it. So tell
Yeah.
us, and you are my second magician on the Rad-Ventures podcast. Tell us how you got into magic then.
So I had the magic set like most children do, and I didn't, I did like basic tricks, what we all did. Didn't think nothing of it, and then when I was about 14, I think 15, I discovered it again. Something appeared on TV, and I discovered a guy called Wayne Dobson, who was, it still is, an absolute incredible magician. He's made so many amazing effects. He was huge in the 70s and 80s, and then I can't remember. What else I saw on TV, but it influenced me just to pick up some cards. And then I went onto YouTube, and there was this video, a series called The Encyclopedia of Magic, where it was basically just a top-down camera, someone's hands. You never saw who it was. It's now known as Vin Yang, who is like one of the greatest speakers in the world. He travels all over the world and does communication skills training. And he used to teach tricks. So I would learn a couple of tricks. And basically it would be a way for me to go down to the pub. So when we became like 16, 17, we were going into pubs. I get very bored easy and I'm very fidgety. I believe, I've got to be careful what I say if I believe it, because it could be true. But I believe I am on the spectrum of ADHD because I'm always fidgeting.
Mm-hmm.
My mate, he's just literally been diagnosed with it about a year ago. And he sent me the questionnaire, and I went through and went, yeah, that sounds like me to a T. My thoughts are racing. We were talking about this before. And so I get bored easy. So I started to use magic as a way to I just was very curious to just show something to people. And I really was fascinated with their reaction. Oh my God, wow. So I sort of became the magic person. And then I just started doing it. And every time we'd go out to a nightclub, they're like, oh, Rick, have you brought some tricks out? I'm like, yeah, I have, you know. And I started doing it. And I just got known for it. And I started then bringing it into Argos. And I became known as do you know the stock manager from Peterborough, Queensgate store? He does magic. And I'm like, oh. So I started doing magic. And I just started to get a name for myself. It was a great way to build confidence, a great way to build rapport, a great way to be known for things. And it just kind of stemmed from there, really. But there's a bit of a double-edged sword with it, really, because what happened was it became too far attached to it, where I got to a point where, like, 10 years later, I remember sitting in a pub, my mate's like, have you got any tricks tonight? I'm like, no. Just wanted to talk about mortgage tonight or the lawnmower I just bought.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, God. I was like, wait, do people just associate me as the magic? You know, I am a human as well. So I had to really be, like, really clear, especially in 2020 when, like, lockdown happened. And I was like, I broke down in tears because I'd just, like, been made redundant, like, literally about a week before. You know, I was about to go full-time magic, and I wasn't doing any magic at all. And everyone, I remember ringing my mum and my mate saying, look, I'm really, really sad. I think I'm depressed. I feel really upset. And I was crying on the phone. They're like, what do you mean, Ricky? I see all these Instagram stories of you performing magic, having fun. I'm like, yeah, well, that's the character. You know, that's me performing. But actually, I still feel like shit, you know. And quite recently, unfortunately, I lost my best friend in the world. Absolutely couldn't believe it. 5 weeks ago, passed away.
Yeah. Just
suddenly his partner told me, and I was like, oh, fuck, shit. So that was really challenging going into weddings, you know, being, hey, hi, I'm here to make you feel great, when actually inside I was feeling shit and down. I don't know why that's come up, but in the answer to the question, that's kind of where it's come from. It was just a way for me to socialize, kind of be accepted, to kind of fit in, I guess, would be the words to say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. I did see about your friend. I'm really sorry about. I'm really
thanks,
sorry
mate.
to hear that. Yeah, it must be upsetting. But
I've brought the
yeah,
tone
I mean,
down
magic.
now, haven't I? Sorry for all the watchers and listeners.
I'm sat there like, oh my God, Richard, right? Inject some energy, Richard. Pour some in.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know, we're all human ultimately.
Yeah.
And you know, loss is an unfortunate thing of life. And it is sad, and I can imagine you being really upset about it, and then having to go into, you know, someone's wedding, someone's happy occasion, when you're feeling like, you know, the proverbial yourself, and then having to entertain and, you know, pour the energy in that, you know, you can't get from anywhere, you know.
Totally.
Yeah, I know. I definitely feel for you. But you know, magic does put you a center of attention, doesn't it? And you know, and if you've always been a bit of an outsider, or if you've been the subject of bullying, etc., and then all of a sudden you can do these magical tricks, or if, you know, people you entertain, even if you're not entertaining the popular kids, you're entertaining the middle tier, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes you feel more of the crowd. It makes you realize that you're not in that you know, that crowd, as it were. And you know, it makes you feel part of something. So I completely understand there. Was it a Paul Daniels magic set that started you off?
I had a Paul Daniels magic set. Paul Daniels actually opened up my primary school new school hall. Yeah, I've got a signed
Was
photograph
Debbie
of
there
him
as
at home.
well?
Debbie was, I think she was. I can't remember. I definitely remember Paul, because we got given like classic 90s stuff here, right? It was a postcard photograph of him where he signed it.
Yeah.
You know, it was great. But obviously, that's kind of where it first started. It was something on TV, which kind of pushed me forward. And I was like, yeah, oh my God, that's amazing.
It wasn't The Masked Magician, was it?
I did watch The Masked Magician. Yeah, I used to love that. Yeah, that was really good fun. That was like Saturday nights, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was like Sky One Saturday nights, wasn't it? In late 90s, I think.
Valentino, I think his real name was. He revealed himself, didn't he?
I can't remember. If you go back and watch Chris Howitt's episode when that comes out, he does say his name. But I've done a couple of these since then, and I can't remember, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there was that. David Blaine was obviously a big thing in the early 2000s, wasn't he? With his different style of magic, and then there was that young laddie that did street magic.
Oh, Dynamo.
Who? Sorry.
Dynamo.
Yes, him. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, Dynamo.
Hang on. Sorry, my Siri just picked me up somehow. Behave yourself. Yeah, so obviously they're all inspirational, aren't they? Dynamo was great. That was a Sky One thing as well, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, back in the days, pre Netflix and all that, when we used to pay our subscription to watch Sky.
Yeah.
Cool. I love Magic. I never got into it myself. I've got a few like trick decks of cards, and I've got some trick dice, and you know there is sort of card trick upstairs somewhere. Marvin's Magic.
Yeah.
But my, I'm quite big and cumbersome, and it's all, my hands are never really that fast. I'm well fast at typing, obviously, but when it comes to sleight of hand, moving my hands really quick and stuff, I've not got it. That's why I'm not very good at playing the guitar either. I don't think.
Oh, okay. You said you're 6'1". You're 6'1".
I'm like 6.5 inch, depending on the tape measure. I'm somewhere between.
Okay,
I think it's like 184 centimeters.
Okay, so I'm 6'2", and I'm saying I'm really really big hands and all that. But you got to be careful what you say. It could be a belief here because you could learn it. Same for me when I first started. I was very slow. I couldn't do the things I do now, the pickpocketing and all that sort of thing. But it's just through practice and stuff. So you could absolutely do it. Yeah, easy.
I think I am a bit of a slow twitch as well. They've got the old muscle firers. I think when I used to run quite a bit, all my friends would be there and I'd be like with the longer stride,
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, cool. So obviously from Magic, you went full-time magician in 2020. Probably not the best time to go full-time magician.
No.
I also was made redundant at the end of 2020. The boss decided that was it. He was like, I'm going to close up 4 weeks before Christmas. You're all made redundant. Oh, and by the way, I'm doing it this way so you can all have your statutory redundancy pay from the government. Pat on the back for him. Well done. I won't say his name just in case.
Yeah.
So I see where you come from. So how has then full-time magic, wedding magician predominantly, turned you into, podcast host, the speaker, the confidence coach? The dad and husband thing are separate. Let's do those after.
Yeah.
Of course, I do know how you became a dad.
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sit down, Ricky. Let me tell you about the birds and the bees.
Yes. So what was the question? How have I become this? Was it?
Yeah. So the transition from magician to speaker, confidence coach, podcast host.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting question, really. I am, and I'm going to Google it to make sure I get this correct because otherwise it'll be wrong in the show notes. But someone said this to me the other day. Have you heard of the jack of all trades thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So often everyone says a jack of all trades, master of none. But there's a full phrase, which is the jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So I am that, I'm a jack of all trades. I'm so curious. And again, this could be something linked to something I need to work out, find out. But I get bored very easy and I start moving along. So I can play the guitar, I can play the drums, I can play the piano, I do magic, I do loads of cool different things. And I kind of get to a point where it's like with the drums, like, I know the basics where if I want to pick up a song now, I can do it. I'm not going to do every single beat the same, but I can play a song and I'm happy with it. And I think what the answer to this question is what's like my purpose. A huge thing of my values is obviously fun, fulfillment, family and freedom. But underneath that is a curiosity to learn. I've always loved learning, always. I was a huge fan of history. So yesterday we went to a place called Belvoir Castle and I was genuinely fascinated. And my wife was like, come on, Ricky, come on. There was this big recreation of the French Revolution. I was like, oh, tell me about what you're wearing. What does that mean? Oh, what's that? And this guy went into huge detail about, here's a little thing that we do with our buttons. And did you know that we wear wool? And I was like, wow, what happens if you were to travel to Spain? He said, we do demonstrations in Spain and it gets very hot. But that was the French Revolution. I was like, fascinating. Anyway, so I'm genuinely just really curious of really learning. So what's led me to do it is just this burning desire to keep progressing and progressing to be the best version of myself. Now, even strongly because I've got a daughter, there's that huge legacy piece that I want to, pass on to her, be the best father I can be and, make her have the best life. I think what drives me to do all these things that I do is it's all about values. So working on purpose and values. Is it fun? Yes. If it's not, I'm not doing it. Everything I do with the speaking, the magic, it all fits with that Venn diagram I mentioned earlier on, performing and presenting. But the values is what holds that together as well. It's fun, it's fulfillment, it fills my cup, and that's the things that I seek doing. So I'm always on the search for what else is going to fill that cup more and more and more. So but yeah, there's that big burning desire that just fits with my purpose and what's really important to me. And that's what's led me to carry on going, oh, okay, so I can do magic. What else could I do? Okay, well, magic is speaking. Let's go do some speaking. I love personal development, huge thing again about learning. So I start using magic to interweave on stage as a great way with metaphors. So it's really curious that it's like I was saying this to Vanda. So if you know Vanda Varga, NLP trainer, there's this cool thing of like skill stacking. So if you imagine like a triangle right now, at the top of the triangle, you would have probably, let's say the speaking career for me, this edge is it edge? I can't remember what you call them, points, whatever you want to call it. But this point here, angles, for anyone listening, yeah, I'm holding my hands up like a triangle. Down here would be like the magic, and then down here would be like the Confident Club and the podcast. And what it is, they're complementary skills. They all stack skills towards it. So the better I become as a confidence coach, it helps me to do skills for speaking on stage. The better I become at like performing magic, also helps to be on stage. So it's just kind of like this flywheel that kind of like really helps and be really quite complementary. But it's just finding the things that I really love doing and just going, well, what more can I learn? But all of it at the same time fits with what's important to me. Yeah.
It's awesome. Kindred spirits, different paths, but kindred spirits. I suppose that's the thing that you find on social media is that in the world of social media, sorry, is that you find your people. It's much easier to do, and birds of a feather definitely flock together.
Yeah.
I think we've mentioned certainly that obviously we're both members of the Digital Circus, which is um, how we obviously know each other or we've come across each other. Though we've never spoken apart from a couple of messages on Instagram in like 4 years. This is the first time we've actually spoken face to face.
Yeah.
But then obviously, uh, Matt's been on the show, Matt King, who was your fellow podcast host for Three Men and a Podcast. I think you called it.
Three Men and yes, that's right. Yeah, Three Men and Podcast. Yeah.
And Alan, who was your fellow co-host, and founder, ringmaster or co-ringmaster of the Yellow Tuxedo. He's hang on. Yeah, he was a fellow podcast. He was a fellow host. Okay, yeah. So I first came across you and Alan through Matt, who I came across through a previous colleague that I used to work with, was in the Dorset Biz News. So I went through Dorset Biz News, found Matt, listened to his podcast, and so started following him. And then we were in that golden age of Instagram where it was all carousels and everyone was, you had creators selling to creators. It was a massive incestuous circle. It was weird. And then, but from that, we then got Instagram lives. And that's where I came across Alan and Yellow Tuxedo. And then I came across you through that. And actually, when I was researching doing this podcast, which the original podcast was going to be called What Do You Want to Be When You Grow Up? Firstly, implying that we'd never grow up because we're all fun and cool. We're the cool kids now. And secondly, it was about your journey on how you've got to where you are before you grow up, if you grow up. But then I decided, as I kind of researched that, there was a few podcasts that were already called that on Apple and Spotify. And then one day I was just looking through Alan's YouTube channel, and I stumbled across Three Men in a Podcast. And I was like, first thing that pops up on YouTube, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, oh my God, right. I was like, it's out, rename, rebrand, redo the artwork, everything. It can't be copying everyone. I was like, no, people are going to see straight through that. So yeah, and I came up with my business name because I was sat there one day. I was known as something different when I was first full time. I was part of like a licensee kind of part of a little agency, and I was like driving to my mum and stepdad's to go and help them move house, and I was thinking, I've got to rebrand. What can I call it? I was like, I want something cool, witty, something that's going to rhyme with like, I don't know, it needs to be like clever. What can you do with what letters go in front of admin to make it fun? And I was like, oh, you know, admin. No, that's not going to work. Cadmin. No, people are going to think that I do computer aided design.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dadmin.
dadmin. No, well, I am a dad, so that kind of works. But then,
Yeah.
is my market audience going to be a dads? No, I don't think so. So
Just
anyway,
what was all that for, Richard? Is this a secret? Have we just like come up with a new part of your business, a new arm of the business for dads, a market for dads to get their shit done?
It is. It is. I think it's going to be Dadmin is going to be the coaching arm of Radmin, where I teach dads to go self-employed and sort their shit out, as you say.
Get their shit done.
Yeah. There you go.
And there's the whole mental health aspect to it as well. You know, being a father, it's like hard work because you just drop the ball, don't you? And how do you still get your shit done and still be a parent?
Yeah. We'll work on it. I'll put you
first.
Yeah, heard it here first on the Rad-Ventures podcast. That's it. That's what it's actually called.
And what could happen is we can have like really cool. I mean, like I'm stealing this idea. Sorry, from Alan and Emily. But we could have like cool days out at the skate park. Because I'd be there. I'd be like, yeah, I'm coming along on my skateboard. Alan, I know, does a little bit as well. And he loves his running as well. So we get loads of people come. There you go.
I'm going to get my skates out so I can practice a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway,
sorry, carry
short,
on. You were saying, yeah.
That's okay. We will revisit that. Dadmin, you heard it here on the Rad-Ventures podcast. See, I do know my own podcast name. So anyway, I came up with Radmin because obviously my name's Richard. And I went, oh, well, you take the R, you take admin, you add the R, that's me, and you get Rad. And I was like, oh, Radmin. And I said it to one of my client. I saw one of my clients the next day, and he said, oh, how are you doing with your rebrand? I said, I don't know. I think I might have to go with something like Langdon Admin Services or something. And I was like, that's my surname, by the way, Langdon. And he's like, sounds like a boring accountant's firm. I was like, no, that is out then. I was like, all right, my other idea is Radmin. And he's like, I love it.
Yeah.
And then and Radmin is a remote login on software. So I had to add the assist bit, and so that I didn't get a letter in the post saying cease and desist. But yeah, so ultimately, had I not discovered yours and Alan's and Matt's podcast, that episode that was all about what do you want to be when you grow up, I wouldn't have rebranded this. So there you go. Kudos, a pat on the back to you. High five.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, mate. Thank
to
you.
Ricky Locke. And you can accept that on behalf of the others.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that was purely our intention. That was purely our intention.
Yeah.
We knew
I'm
that
sure when you went 3
years later this would happen or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you were like, that dude Richard, he goes by Radmin. He's going to make a podcast, and so we should inspire him with this episode.
Yes, totally.
Right, yeah, I think the point of that was community, and we've running in circles. I think the only problem with the Dadmin meetup is the distance, obviously, because you're all the way over in Lincolnshire. We're obviously on the south coast.
Yeah,
although we are dotted along the south coast, and obviously Matt's got his electric skateboard too, so he might be down for a Dadmin adventure.
Yeah. Well, I think if because this comes down to a question. This is like serious stuff now, right? When we talk about like ideal clients and that nonsense and all that, but I think that there's this thing about actually if you've got value to share, people will buy it. So not necessarily, ideal clients are great. If some people want to do that, that's absolutely fine. But I think if you've got something of real value, people will buy it. I think the answer to that is like, if you've got this really cool event that just appeals to the masses, then they will come no matter what. So to reinforce that, and I hope you do, by the way, because I'll be there. I obviously live in South Lincolnshire. Alan and Emily, they obviously went to my wedding as the first time. But last year, they were having their in-person event. And I travelled all the way. I went like 3.5 hours, I think it was, to get here. And I was like, rocked up at their door, knocked on the door, and they're like, Ricky, hello. And it was fantastic. We spent the afternoon. I was there obviously for the meeting the day after, but I got a hotel and I ended up going around their house and we were doing magic tricks for their kids at their coffee table, which was fantastic. And that was just because of the community that they'd built that I felt so connected with. And even though it was virtually, I just felt real part of it, that I wanted to travel. And I've done that for another membership as well, where it's like, I don't know anyone in person, but I feel like I'm so close to these people. I've seen you so many times on Instagram. I never met you in person, but there is that rapport, there is that connection that's there. So I think I think absolutely. If you got something of value to share, make it, and then people will come. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gutted that I missed you in the in-person events that I've been to of Yellow Tuxedos, but I did go on their Entrepreneurs Day, and
Yeah.
I obviously the only people that I knew, the friends that I've got within the digital circus, I was like, Richard Hiron, are you going to the day? Are you going to the day? Oh, I can't make it. Anthony Bernadette Clark, whatever, ABC.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you going? Oh, I can't make it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go on my own. I'm only going to know Alan and Emily, and they're going to be busy with everyone else. And actually, I went knowing just Emily and Alan, and I met so many cool people. And like some of them were like, yes, we're BFFs forever. And we spent the whole day in these groups. It's fantastic.
Mm.
Um, but back to the Rad-Ventures podcast. I think I could talk to you for ages, Ricky, because like I say, we are obviously kindred spirits on different paths. But we are going to run out of time if we're not careful. So I think we should smash through the quickfire questions,
Let's do it.
which aren't usually that quick.
Okay.
So let's do it. Let's see how quick we can get through these.
Yeah. What, one word answer?
So
2 word answers or a sentence?
a couple of word answers. If we like the answer, we'll deep dive into it because obviously after that
Okay.
we've then got the CV libraries, most popular jobs of 2024, and then I've got to talk to you about some gondolas. We've got to talk to you about your future, and then a quick wrap up. And we want to do
Sure.
that all in 15 minutes.
Let's do it. Let's go. Ready.
Let's go. What's your favorite age been so far?
Oh God. Ooh, good one. I'm going to say my 30s.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's probably because you're starting to you've got a bit more confidence than you had in your 20s. You're starting to unpick who you actually are. You're
Yes.
caring a little less about what other people think. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. And I think, sorry to add on the content, you absolutely nailed that on the head.
Add on.
It was that I now it took me to about 33, 34 to realize I get to choose my beliefs. And a lot of my life was led by beliefs I had as a kid because of how my mum and dad raised me up. And I'm like, oh, you mean I can do the things I want to do and I can create a business? So yeah, that's why I love it more. It's the choice, the wiseness. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll have to have like episode 2 of Ricky Locke and like deep delve into some of these other things because there's like loads I could talk to you about like beliefs and things like that. And obviously this
Yeah.
whole getting to where you're at. I think I'm a little bit behind with on that. I'm a little bit older than you, but I'm only just kind of what is it I want and what is it and I starting to feel less about what people think and say about me and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I could talk about it for ages, and especially
Right.
conspiracy theories and Blink 182
Oh yeah,
and
totally.
skateboarding.
Yeah.
So yeah, episode 2, we'll put it in the works. Okay, question 3. Oh no, sorry, question 2. What is your favorite quote? Movie, meme, or another maybe motivational quote? Depends on you're entirely up to you.
Oh, okay. So the one I'm so I do this a lot in the personal development world. You do quote tennis. Go, well, that's a really good one. Here's another one. So this is my favorite one at the minute, which is by Vin Yang, which is don't be so attached to who you are in the present that you don't give the future version of yourself a chance. I love that. I think
Oh, I
that's a
like
really
it.
cool
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, we get too
that's
hooked
really
up on
good.
now rather than the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and obviously, and you can even like envelop the past into that too. And people change,
Yeah.
and you move on and things like that. And so yeah, I love that. Question 3: Google Suite or Microsoft 365?
Great. Google Suite all the way. All the way. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
totally. Yeah.
yeah. I thought
I'm
we
a
were
Mac man
BFFs,
and
but I
just
might change
it's
my mind.
lovely.
Yeah, I mean, I started off when I first went to business or full time self-employedness. I had an old iMac that I was using, which was fine at the time until I started using Microsoft 365 every day, and then using Canva every day, and then it
Yeah.
just couldn't keep up. And so the cheapest option for me was to go to a Windows computer, which then obviously Microsoft was perfect with. And everyone says nowadays that you don't. And I'm not fact checking this, so yeah, I will stand corrected. As with all previous episodes, no, nothing's fact checked, so do correct me if I'm wrong. But people say Macs and Microsoft are now perfectly fine as long as you've got the latest version. I don't believe them.
Not
The
sure.
colors are different and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not
Um,
sure. Yeah.
But yes, anyway, Google Suite for Ricky Locke.
Hmm.
All right. Number 4 then, hypothetical situation. Very hypothetical. Just roll with it.
Okay.
If you're stranded on a desert island, what app could you not live without?
Oh, I would have to. It would be Spotify because
Nice.
music is like a huge anchor for me. Obviously Blink 182 would be in that. That fires me up, gets me confident. But you also get audiobooks and podcasts on there, like the Radmin podcast.
Yeah.
So obviously, I would need to have that on there. Yeah, couldn't live without it. I couldn't live without my AirPods and Spotify.
I think I would be the same. I think, music's a big thing for me. I use it working, I use it running, I use it driving, I use it sat doing nothing. Podcasts, obviously. Um, yeah, and I remembered earlier you said about Elder Emos
Yeah,
and Fallout Boy, and I used to hate them like when they first came out, and I was just like, this is just rubbish. My partner, she likes them,
yeah,
but recently I've been like re-listening to the albums because they popped up on my Spotify. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah, this isn't too bad. And
yeah.
one of my favorite songs is Uma Thurman,
Oh right,
which
yeah,
has a
yeah, yeah,
sample of the Munsters in it,
yeah,
the Munsters theme tune, which I think is fantastic.
yeah.
I keep trying to use it on a reel, but I haven't got to that point yet because obviously it is about a woman and sex and stuff. So it wouldn't be suitable for my Instagram.
So for me, Richard, the first two albums were like incredible because that's like they were like really pop punk, fast. Like every album track was like it was like 20 words. It was like quotes from a movie and all that sort of thing. So like a little less 16 Candles, a little more Touch Me. They were just awesome things, but they went too poppy for me. So that's why. Yeah, I love the original stuff.
Yeah, I think the second album had the stars on the cover, didn't it? And that was the
Oh
kind of one that was a bit more mainstream.
yeah, yeah. So under the cork tree, I had like Sugar We're Going Down when they started to go
Yeah,
really
that's
big.
it.
And then the one before that was Take This to Your Grave, which was just like pure like pop punk, like
That's
fast.
the one with the lad on the seat on the front with the American flag painted on his face, isn't it?
No, so this is a really old one. It's like it's blue and it's just them four sitting on a couch. I think it's the only album
Right.
with their faces on it. Yeah, yeah, it's a good one.
Uh,
Check it out. It's good.
yeah, I'm going to check them out. I'm working my way through them. Um, all right, back to this. Cool. Where are we? Number 4, we done. Number 5. How many unread emails do you have on your phone right now?
Right now. Oh my god. Okay, this one's good. Okay, here we go. 55. Woo.
Ooh.
Is this a plug for your
like
business here, Richard?
so?
I don't
It's
know.
just to kind of tie admin in a little bit, get to know
Okay,
the
yeah,
real
yeah,
Ricky, see
yeah.
how unorganized he is with his 55 emails on his phone and how he uses Google Suite. Um, yeah, it's actually market research for the government.
Oh,
They're paying for this podcast, and
right.
so
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I'm joking. I wish they were. It's quite an expensive hobby, this podcasting lark. Um, right now, question 6. This may change in the future. So, Ricky Locke Part 2
Mm,
may be a different question. Actually, we probably won't do the quickfire questions in Ricky Locke Part 2. We'll be too busy talking about the other stuff.
okay.
But if you could afford any car,
Mm,
you don't have to worry about the insurance, the tax, the petrol, tires, blah blah blah. What would you have?
well, that's a really good question. See, I'm not too materialistic with cars and stuff because I'm a dad now. I'm
Hmm,
like, what's reliable? What's going to be safe? What's going to help me? I think it'd be like let's go wild. Come on, let's go wild. I think it'd be the DeLorean.
nice.
Yeah, the
I was
DeLorean.
hoping you'd say
Yeah,
something like that. For some
yeah.
reason, I imagined perhaps Batman Forever Batmobile for you. Chris
Yeah,
O'Donnell going along with the roof down, and it was kind of hopping
yeah, yeah,
along the
yeah,
street.
yeah.
But yeah, no, DeLorean, I like it. And have you seen on Instagram the reels where people take Teslas and they make them look like DeLoreans, but then they put like petrol spouts out the back so you get the flames going along the road?
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, well,
Next time I
obviously,
see it, I
I'll have a
should
look at
send
that.
you.
Yeah. Well, in the wedding
Yeah, that's
industry,
cool.
there are a lot of couples that book the DeLorean as their
Yeah.
car, the wedding car. So it's, my mate, he's actually been to a wedding where it's arrived, and it just like was amazing showstopper. Everyone left the wedding venue to come outside and go, "Oh my god!" And all the guys were like, "Oh, that's amazing!" It's
Is
brilliant.
that not like some form of hidden metaphor in there though? Something about time machine and weddings and stuff.
Maybe yes, the power of love.
I always think
That
that
was a little pun.
I, I reckon people might read into that a bit too much.
Mm, maybe.
Like who's coming back in the time machine to stop the wedding or something?
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Back to the Future. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
I was merely
Ooh.
thinking of it. This was just a lovely idea, but you've gone into it quite deep, and that's quite a
I've,
yeah,
I've I've ruined it, haven't I? And
yeah.
now
I'm
next
going to
time you
think of
see
it
that
now.
DeLorean rock up, you're going to be like, "Oh God,
Yeah, smoke coming out, and it's Doc coming out, going,
yeah."
Jonathan, you've got to come back. You've got to come back to the future.
He's like, Jonathan.
Yeah. Elon Musk has taken over. AI is taking over. We've got to go back to the future.
Yeah, you can't get married here. We need to go get the train instead.
Yeah.
Right. All right, that's the quickfire questions. I think we did that quite quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, quickly then. This has been part of the show for the last, apart from the first one, this has been in it because I saw it in the newspaper. I thought that'd be quite good. So it's literally yes or no. Would you do these jobs? It's CV Library's most popular jobs of 2024.
Okay.
We'll do it in like a Tony Blackburn style, starting at number 10. I'm going to edit in the do. Okay, number 10, inventory operator. Do you fancy that?
An inventory operator? For what?
Yeah. I think that's where they
operate inventory.
You take inventory of things.
Yeah. Let's say yes, because it could be really cool inventory. Maybe it's like inventory of DeLoreans or Teslas. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Number 9, manual line operator.
Oh, no, that sounds boring to me. Sorry for anybody.
Number 8, food and beverage team member. I think that's working at Wetherspoons.
Yeah.
Number 7, packaging operator. Number 6, head of social sustainability.
I'm going to say no because, I'm very sustainable. I don't need to do that.
I went on a massive rant with this one about sustainability, net zero, the boringest talk I've ever been to. And then I realized it said social sustainability. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to cut this whole entire section out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Luckily, that episode didn't work properly. We had technical issues. And so that one was gone into the ether forever. So, number 5, customer contact advisor.
Yes. I do love like magical customer experiences. So I think I'd be cool with that.
Number 4, CCTV controller.
No. Just boring.
Number 3, it's got Ricky written all over it. It's TikTok presenter.
Yes, totally. Yeah, totally.
Number 2, theme park historic character.
Oh, theme park historic character.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think it'd be quite fun to do it maybe for like a summer, no one would know who it is and just like walking around in a big costume, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon. Like, knight in shining armor stuff, wearing that and wandering around with your sword like you there, or walking at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Or being a Jedi or something.
Yeah, or like Deadpool. That'd be pretty cool. It'd be like Deadpool.
Yeah,
or Rilo
Chewbacca
Ken.
in that suit. No one would know who that was.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
the Spider-Man jump thing in Disneyland at the minute. You could do that whole robot thing instead of the robot doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
What?
It's a robot?
That's a cool one.
It's not Spider-Man?
No, it's a robot, that one.
Oh.
Number 1 then is a data management officer.
No.
Okay. So definite no for data management officer, though I understand that is what Chandler Bing did in Friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I think it was statistical analysis or something. So not dissimilar, I would think.
Yeah. Oh, there's some real 90s throwbacks, isn't there, in this episode? This is good. I like it.
That's because the 90s were the best time. Human society peaked then.
That's true, yeah.
Cool. So a few of those for Ricky then. And then I spotted this the other weekend in a newspaper article, a Sky News article. Are you an aspiring gondolier, Ricky?
Well, I think no. No, I think I'd like to give it a go, but I've done punting in Cambridge, if that's close, but,
Apparently, Venice is recruiting gondoliers. You need to do a theory test, you need to do a practical test, both about £400 each. But apparently, if you're over 18, you should be okay.
Okay, right, wow. God, yeah. God,
So,
do you think
not
people
fancy
tell their
that one?
career advisor that as well? Like,
Maybe.
I want to be an aspiring gondolier. You can't do
Like,
that, son. You live in Lincolnshire.
Yeah. Someone living in central London. Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'm going to be a gondolier in Venice.
Yes. That's so weird, yeah.
Talk me through how you're going to get there.
Yeah. Well, I guess, who are we to crush someone's dreams, right, Richard? But,
yeah, of course.
Absolutely. I mean, if my daughter says that, then I'll absolutely support her, of course. As long as she gives me, like, tickets to come out and see her or whatever, stay in Venice for a while.
Yeah, I don't think you even
Yeah.
have to wear the hats anymore. I don't think you have to sing about
Oh,
cornettos or anything like that
oh
anymore.
yeah.
So,
Yes, that's true.
so yeah, could be quite the career path. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I would guess that it's like on a self-employed basis, and you like rent the gondolier from some, like
Yeah, yeah.
mafia guy that owns loads of things that he's using that to launder money or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe it's a really good business model here that you get so good at it that you're just so popular, like you become this great brand. It's like, wow, that gondolier really stands out because it includes music and wine and cheese and all this sort of thing. So it gets so good, you have to scale it up and you start like becoming an agent, and then you start recruiting more people. And actually, we're in the wrong jobs, Richard, and we're like, oh, maybe my calling is that. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's
Who
it.
knows?
What we should do, admin planning trip. We'll go to Venice and we'll talk
Yes.
about it in a gondola,
Yeah.
and we'll record it and we'll like live stream it on Instagram or something.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be a good idea. Yeah.
I
like
like
it.
it, and it's
Yeah.
it's probably cheaper for us to meet in Venice
Mm.
and spend a couple of days there than it is actually for us to drive up to Lincolnshire or drive down to Weymouth and
Yes. Yeah.
and stay in hotels or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Yeah.
there we go. All right, so we've done the quick fire questions. We've done a little bit on the little extra bits of careers wise. So moving on then within the show, and we are now heading towards the longest episode ever, Ricky.
Sorry.
So kudos to you there. And no, it's fine. It's you, every time I speak to someone, I get better at like teasing bits out of people and filling in bits. But then someone says something like Blink 182, or they say skating, or they say Land Rovers or something like that. I'm like, oh my god, I could talk about this forever. Um, I'm just waiting for someone to talk about Gundam Wing or something. That'd be
Oh
great.
yeah. Well, I'm a massive anime fan. Huge anime
Oh
fan.
really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Huge.
Um,
Yeah.
I just literally last night finished Mobile Suit: The Witch of Mercury.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Are you on Crunchyroll
And
then?
that was like, yeah.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
the Amazon connected Crunchyroll thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I tell you what, I've watched it like over the last week or so, a couple of episodes a night. It's blown my mind. It's so good. I mean, I know it was a bit kind of childish and stuff like that, but I just loved the story, like the little background story of
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
two
yeah.
main characters and stuff, and like everything that wrapped around it. It was brilliant, and like I'm
Yeah.
still processing it now. I couldn't start anything else, just
Well,
because I'm like, oh my god, it's finished.
I don't know if
Um,
you've seen it already. Then this is my recommendation for you. Mashle.
yeah,
Have you seen that?
Mashley. No.
Mashle. It's basically. Do you know One Punch Man?
Yes.
It's basically One Punch Man with Harry Potter. It's amazing. It's magic and
Ah,
muscles. It's basically about this guy that has no magic, and if there's people that have no magic, they're not allowed to be in the world, sort of thing. So he goes to like
okay.
a Hogwarts, and it's so similar. I'll send you a trailer later on, but he kind of faffs himself through it based on muscles. It's incredible. I probably
Yeah.
haven't pitched that very well, but it's really cool. Really cool.
It sounds quite cool. And like
Yeah.
The Witch of Mercury, that was kind of like Hogwarts, but with mobile suits. It
Oh,
was all. It was.
nice.
I was watching. She goes off to school on her own, no friends and everything, and like the
Yeah.
outsider, and yeah, it was really good. Anyway, um,
Nice.
yeah. So look, I did it again. I got distracted, and this is
Sorry.
why this
Yeah,
is
that's
like
my
my
fault.
longest
Yeah.
episode so far. No, it's me. I was banging on about amazing subjects that I could talk about. Um, all right. So my final question before we wrap up is: what would you want to be if and when you grow up? No, not yeah. If and when you grow up.
Oh, okay. I am working towards this, and I would love to be an international speaker who travels all over the world, entertaining, inspiring, and engaging people to get to where they want to be. Yeah, that's what the dream is. I think. Yeah,
Nice.
using
I like
magic.
it, and that's
Yeah,
like just a couple of steps ahead of where you are currently. So I love it
yeah, yeah,
because you're on that journey. And like this question was designed to be one. It could, it could go this way. I'm working towards it, and this is what I want to do. And the majority of the people I've spoken to have said, I'm on my way, and I am heading exactly where I want to be. Because the majority of my guests have all
yeah,
been over 30, and so we know where we know which direction we want to head to
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Um,
It's
but
the
then at
old.
the same,
Oh, sorry. I was just
no,
sorry.
no,
I was
you
gonna
carry on, you carry on.
It's the Riverside thing, isn't it? Where we go, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the driving at night, story. When you're driving at night and you can only see got your lights on, and there's no kind of street lighting or anything like that. But you can only see about 100 feet in front of you. But as you start to drive closer and closer, the road unfolds, and you see a sign, and then you see a mountain or something like that. And that's just what it is, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I'm just driving at the minute. I'm driving. It's coming.
Yeah,
I'm going.
I liked when people talk to me about it. They said, "Oh, if you're scaling your business, are you doing that with your business? Are you doing the other? What direction are you going to go in?" And I like to say, like, I'm playing Pokemon on the Game Boy,
Nice.
and to go into a certain level, you have to either have a certain level, certain type of Pokemon, like oh, I've not got myself a grass
Yeah.
Pokemon yet, so I can't
Yeah.
go into that grasslands. Or
Yeah.
you need to have a certain level of Pokemon to be able to go in there. So I've got a level 5 such and such Pokemon,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you
That's
need to be at
nice.
least level 11 to get in.
Yeah. Oh,
But as we
yeah.
get older, we kind of
Oh.
pick what we want to do, and we level up those Pokemon by reading our books and things like that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yes, I love it.
well, continuing on that, Richard, then. So I think
Yeah,
mine
yeah,
then, right now, if the Pokemon aspect would be, I'm collecting my badges at the minute. I'm
yeah.
doing all the tournaments and collecting them as I'm going to get to that stage, which is the big final thing. So yeah, collecting my badges at the
I
minute.
love it.
Just
I
fought
love it.
Brock and what was it? Was it
Yeah,
Gollum? No, not Gollum. Onyx. Onyx.
Onyx.
Onyx.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
yeah. Gollum was the bigger one, wasn't it? That was the evolution of Onyx, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yes, yeah, yeah. God, great.
I was quite good with the 151,
Mm,
but once it went past that,
yeah, yeah.
I was a bit like lost. There's now like over 1,000, I think,
Yeah,
and
I
so
had
I
I had the
don't know
original
any of
poster on
those.
my room that was, I think it went up to Mew and
Yeah.
Mewtwo, and that was it. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
fully.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was good.
Oh,
So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you're on that path and that it's going well for you. Sometimes with this question, as I was saying, everyone seems to say the same thing.
yeah,
The question I was expecting people to say, "Oh, well, actually, I'd be an astronaut," or I'd be a prime minister. But yeah, no, people are like, "No, I'm on my path. That's what I want to do,"
yeah. And I guess as
which is
well
great.
is like the question is like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I don't want to grow up. I'm going to
Yeah,
be me and that child forever. So
yeah.
yeah.
Someone called me a responsible adult the other day. I was like, "You really don't know me." I was like, if my daughter asked us to do something like arty or play with clay or something, I'm like, no, sorry, we've got to wait for mum to come home.
Nice.
We need a responsible adult for that one. Cool. Right. It's fantastic talking to you, Ricky. I could talk to you all day, but we've both got work to do. Um, so we will do another one, I think, if you're willing to
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
definitely. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, I don't know how this is going to work with seasons, etc. Yet, if I'm just going to just keep going weekly forever, I don't know. But I'm locked in now. But we will get you back on Ricky Locke
Thanks, mate.
episode 2. So thank
Love
you for
it.
that.
Thank you.
And so to wrap up, then tell everyone where you can find her. You.
Yeah, so basically, Ricky Locke Magic on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, or just Ricky Locke on LinkedIn if you want to be more professional and corporate. I'm Ricky Locke on LinkedIn, but type it in on Google, and I think I'll pretty much come up everywhere. So yeah, Ricky Locke.
Cool. All right. Great to talk to you, Ricky.
Thanks,
I'm
mate.
gonna see someone. I'm gonna see the watchers, the listeners. I'm gonna see them next week because it's my show and they'll see me constantly. We'll get another guest. Ricky will be back another time, and maybe we'll do like a foursome or something with you, Ricky, you, Matt, and Alan, or something like
Yeah,
that in
yeah,
season
definitely.
3 or
Yeah,
something. I don't know. That might be quite
yeah,
entertaining. Apart from the problem with Riverside, obviously, is it's a virtual call
yeah.
and you get that slight lag. So I could imagine with like 4 people talking, it would all be a bit like, "Oh, did you want to go? No, you go. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah.
to interrupt you there."
We'll have to like
All
pass the
right,
baton or something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like you hold, I'll hold up my pen and I can talk, and then someone's like, "I'll put my pen up. Hang on, we'll get to you in a second. I just finished my point."
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. I'll be back next week. Peace out. Thanks for joining us on Rad-Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe via your favourite platform. Always happy to chat, so hit me up in the DMs, and I'll see you on the next Rad-Venture. All right, Ricky, I'll just end the recording, and then I just need you to stick around for the upload, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no worries. I'll just quickly say.